Welcome to the Telling of Story podcast. I'm your host, Storyteller Jules, and along with my guests, it's my endeavour to explore the art and science of storytelling to attract, engage, and retain a business audience, and to unpack why it works for some and not for the many that try. This episode, I speak with Zahrina Robertson. Listen in as she talks about you get what you put out.
My big bugbear is the visual branding assets of people. If, at the end of the day, if people are going to put out a 50-cent headshot and not actually understand that they need to invest in themselves visually, then they're going to get that 50-cent client.
In this episode, I have the pleasure of interviewing Zahrina Robertson. Zahrina is a multi-award-winning businesswoman who works with speakers, leaders, and entrepreneurs with ideas, visual assets, styling, and develops very unique brand strategies with her marketing background. Zahrina's impressive client list include Richard Branson, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Tim Ferriss, and Simon Sinek, just to name a few. Zahrina is also an event photographer for Emirates Tourism Australia, Business Chicks, and many international clients, and has also worked with the Professional Speakers Association of Australia. For over 10 years, Zahrina Robertson has invited her clients to escape into her world of creativity and explore the possibilities of their online presence with fun. She is the cheerleader for her clients, whose biggest challenge is recognizing their own potential. Zahrina, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks for having me. Thank you. Lovely introduction.
Zahrina, tell me a little bit about the journey you took before becoming a brand strategist.
Well, I'm a photographer and videographer, really, and branding strategy is part of it, because before I started this journey, I was working in marketing for Louis Vuitton, Moe Hennessy, LVMH, and I've always loved the side of, I don't know, I've always been drawn to marketing and that sort of thing. And then, my natural gift is photography and creativity. And then I just married the worlds together.
And was that journey an obvious one for you? Like, did you get to that photography? Have you always enjoyed photography? Where did that passion come from?
That's interesting, because I was born with a camera in my cot, I say. But I don't know. It's just it was an evolution, because, I mean, in the day, mum would say, oh, get a real job, study or uni, and I'm like, oh no, I could just never think of anything more opposite than to go to uni. So I never went. I went and studied and did marketing, and I really enjoyed that, and also training, because I love training. So I did training and marketing, and I did that as the foundation of me moving forward in corporate. And then and as those sort of things happened, I went on and I created a this whole energy behind what I thought to be true, and I just sort of developed that, because this marketing was just pushing me. I loved it. And then I started becoming a photographer when I was actually being bullied in corporate by another lady, just being bullied, and and that was not pleasant. So I guess when you're in corporate, you think, oh my gosh, this is it. But I didn't understand that there was a world of entrepreneurialism out there. I actually didn't know. And it pushed me to the edge of really finding out what's next, what now, why, who am I doing, what am I doing? I've got to get out of here because of that. That experience was really bad. So, and I was propelled and pushed by bullying in corporate. And then I went out and just developed my own belief system that went, oh, hang on, I might just go out and do photos. And if people don't like it, then I'm going to stop doing it. And why would I keep doing it if people don't like what I want to do? So that was so interesting to put that promise to myself before I started. And as I started, it just got nicer and loving it. And I found my marketing ways and I evolved it with my energy of it all. And it was like it was just a really great avenue to mix both loves together. My energy of speaking and then educating and branding and marketing and creativity. It was just utopia.
I mean, that's awesome to hear. A lot of people sort of go through the journey of discovery, I guess, when it comes to entrepreneurship, and they, don't always know exactly what that means until they sort of start doing it. So it's fabulous to hear that you've been able to blend something that you really truly love with something that hopefully brings you an income and you're able to survive on. So which is fantastic. So
Going back to the income, no, it does. I don't do things for a hobby.
yeah, of course. Of course. And that's an interesting point, because one of the things that this podcast is all about is developing people's personal brands. What does that really mean? But specifically, what does that mean from a business perspective? What impact does personal brand have on the ability to grow a business? Do you have an opinion on that?
No, yeah, definitely. It's just like over the years, I've developed my thought leadership of personal branding with imagery and videos and your messaging and your voice and your visuals, your visual assets. And it's all comes together about the one message of how you're putting yourself out there and really who do you want to attract. So my big bugbear is the visual branding assets of people. If at the end of the day, if people are going to put out a 50-cent headshot and not actually understand that they need to invest in themselves visually, then they're going to get that 50-cent client. That's one point. The other point is about the messaging on video. If you're not going to curate your message correctly with about who you are, what you do, how you help people, how you solve people, then that in itself is the same. So you can have a great, strong, video message, or you'll fall through the cracks. It's the same with like the 50-cent photograph. I really believe strongly about this, and I see it, and then I see a lot of people don't. They hide from showing up on video. So it's very interesting and very powerful. Video is the go-to now. Everybody knows that. And if you don't, well, you know now. And really, personal branding is about curating how people get to know, like, and trust you, feel you, your personality, get to know you. It's not just one dimensional, like, voice only. You get to see, hear, mannerisms. It's all wonderful. The whole encompassing platform of video and the visual assets is really important. It's crucial to success these days now.
You bring up a fabulous point. One of the questions I ask all of my guests is, where do you find that balance between the consistency of putting out your information and your brand? So how often do you publish something, whether that's audio, video, text, whatever that might look like, versus both the cost and the quality of the content that you're outputting? So, investing in good video and photography is fantastic, but can add up from a cost perspective. So where do you find that balance, and what's your advice there?
Wow, there's so many ways to do video now, and content and sharing. It's endless. It's endless. You can be really creative on how and where you want to turn up and show up and make a change with people. It's like sharing your message. Do it on a podcast, do it on a blog, do it on a this and all of that. You know what I mean? So with video, and it's how you do it. So, I mean, video sharing videos and on what on platforms is great, but you need to have a strategy behind it and why you want to do it and where you want to show up. And then, and start developing momentum. I truly believe that. And then just starting with baby steps. And that's why I've developed this 21 videos in 90 minutes. I mean, I love what I do because I know that helping people fast, consistently, and succinctly is what I'm all about. And so if I'm all about that, then surely there's other people like that out there. And that's why I produced this product where I help people get their content right with the videos and get them seen right. I dress them and style them. I set them all up for success. And when you've got an expert who has got your back, it is 1,000 times easier to feel comfortable to share your message. So exciting, like that way, to actually feel that you can actually be authentically you. It's really important. It's really important because a lot of people have that fear of video and even fear of photographs and fear. It's like they think they're going to the dentist to get the teeth pulled out, or maybe they'd rather go to the dentist to get the teeth pulled out than do a video and get their photos taken. So it's just so interesting. But now it's just almost the norm, but there's still the norm is a lot of people, introverts, have a lot to grapple with. And because I love what I do, I naturally know how to help people.
So it's a great point there. I know for a fact a lot of people are scared to get in front of the camera, camera shy, scared for whatever reason. Not everybody looks fabulous in front of a camera, or not everybody is naturally photogenic, for example. What do you say, or what advice would you give somebody who actually does want to improve their personal brand but maybe does have that fear factor? What might it look like, working with you to get them in front of that camera and make them comfortable?
Oh, I think it comes down to one word I'm about. It's fun. It's like, this is exciting. It is exciting to help people unpack their passion and love it and me curate it with the marketing spin and the branding spin for them. Nothing else spins my wheels, and I love it. And I've got I'm doing I am a video brand accelerator program, and this is all it goes. It ticks all my boxes of helping people because I know the difference I can make. And last year during COVID, I created some programs, and I went and did beta aspects of them, and I really, really loved the transformation I helped people with. Their confidence, helping them feel comfortable in their own skin. And now I see them doing videos, and it's just like, oh, this is so cool. This is very cool. And they all learned it from me to help them ease into it better. So I'm like their cheerleader. So you really do need a good cheerleader behind you, and someone who's actually smart about how and to turn up and what to say about your content and your branding. And it's wonderful. It just ticks all my boxes.
I can hear
men and women, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I can hear it in your voice, and I loved it in your bio where you say that, you are the cheerleader for your clients, and, whose biggest challenge is recognizing their own potential. And I imagine getting out of their own way is part of the challenge, right? So
it is, but it's also part of my story as well. So, I myself has been like a bit myself. At times I feel like, oh dear, like the hiding of me has been, so, especially sometimes when you're going through change and evolving and you're thinking and you're just thinking and you go into that space, and it's very interesting about really, I guess, how you think about who you are, and then how do you want to be seen, and and it's evolving. It's very interesting, like for me, going through what I preach, right? Does that make sense? And that's where I'm been, and now I know the other side of the equation is because like the 9 weeks that I help people through is actually all from personal experience. So it's been really good program that I've developed from my own story to help people go through for their own story to be seen. So there's brand of storytelling and relatable, and it's great content. so that they become a influencing person for their niche.
So when you work, you have worked with a number of fabulous different, celebrities, and I'll come back to a question on that in a second. But what, other than the famous ones, can you give me an example of someone, and you don't need to use names if you don't want to, but what's the transformation look like for somebody who goes through a program with you, from, somebody who's perhaps a little bit unknown in their space to becoming a celebrity, I guess, or a mini celebrity in their own world?
Oh, I tell you, all the clients I've dealt with over the years, I've launched them, and I've put them out there and helped them be really credible and relatable. And I think that a part of it is getting. Well, for me, I help really, really support people with their content and their messaging. So what and how they're turning up now and where they want to be, I help them with that gap. It's vital. People don't necessarily they see themselves as something, but when you've got eyes of you giving you the clarity, then there's a mismatch. So that mismatch just needs to really be straightened up. So I help people with that mismatch, and I really enjoy doing that, actually, because it enlightens people to what's possible, to bigger things about themselves, and it's really exciting to see. Like, I've got clients that, say millionaires, right? And they wanted their branding done, and their before images and the way they're coming across it look like a barista living in Manly. So I create from the baristas living in Manly to sorting them looking like who they really are, and making that message and their vibe turn up. Their personality turn up in all sorts of different ways, and in all sorts of different images and settings, and the same with video. I love it.
And so when you talk about this mismatch of branding, what do you mean by that? Can you explain that to me?
There's a lot of people I see on LinkedIn. There's lots of people that talk to me all the time about their personal brand, and before they even are speaking to me, I'm looking them up like you'd look up other people, like everybody would look up me,
Mm-hmm.
and see, like, check her out, Facebook spying, whatever that is, we're all spying. And we're getting a vibe about who is this person. We're making a judgment on who is this person. And so the judgments, the spying, the whole shebang is all being curated either for you or against you. So at the end of the day, do you want your spies looking at you for you or against you?
I think that's a really interesting point because, I think I've suffered a bit from that over the years. I've had many different types of careers over the last 30 odd years now, and sort of reinvented myself, if you like, over a couple of periods of time. And some people know me from an era that no longer exists, if that makes sense. So some people know me from, who I was maybe 20 years ago. And so changing that persona, I'm still the same person. I still do the same, I still have to bring the same energy, and I still, have the same quality and things like that in my work ethic. But what I do and who I work for or with has changed over the years. So for somebody like me, what does that sound like? If I was to roll up to your studio and say, hey, I just need to make myself look like the current now, what does that entail?
Well, firstly, you just don't roll up at my studio, right? Because number one,
We're not allowed to at the
it ain't
moment.
available, and number two, it's not about rolling up. It's about understanding, and I take my clients through, customers, and I have a conversation with people, and I work out their strategy going forward. Working with me, I curate their brands. It's not like, there's a lot of photographers and people out there go, oh, stand in front of the wall and this dodgy brick wall and smile. and that's boring. And so that's not what I do. So I take people through a whole lot of layers about their branding, and it's not even just the visual part of it all. It's about the messaging behind the branding, behind the images and the videos. That's really important to break down.
I love that, because you're right. You can go, pay for photography almost, ubiquitously anywhere. And it is there, a fair bit of that is just turning up, turning the lights on, standing and smiling. But I love the fact that you take people on the journey and of discovery of themselves, and the viewpoint that you take. What's the impression that people have of you? I think is really important, and really important going forward. So I love what you do. What really attracted me to you as well was the fact that you're not just the person behind the camera either. You seem to have done a pretty good job at stepping in front of the camera yourself, right? So
Yeah.
tell me about that, because I do see a lot of creatives who hide. Hide is maybe a harsh word, but hide behind the camera and are very good at what they do, but don't necessarily do it for themselves. How important is it to do it for yourself?
It's interesting. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to be the brand or to be the person in front of the lens. No way. And then I was like, no, my work just speaks for itself. Go to my website, check out my work. It's fine. Forget that. So then I guess that everybody just rubbed off on me. All sorts of different people rubbed off on me, especially the clients, because they're geniuses of what they do. They're thought leaders, speakers, entrepreneurs, they're go-getters, they're coaches, they're consultants. Mamma mia, women, men, love them all. 100-year-old client I had as a female woman in business, dealing with her. To young kids, like I've done the whole shebang, the gambit of all sorts of walks of life. But I never wanted to really feel that, oh, no, it's not needed. I don't need to do that. But then everybody just rubbed up on me. But then again, they triggered my marketing sense and my branding nous. And I wrote books. I've won competitions. I've, won a lot of awards. And I speak on branding. And I find that standing on stage and talking and empowering people is nothing more fulfilling than helping them do that. And I love it. I just love it. I think it's really a part of me. I know that I like risk taking. I like putting myself out there, pushing myself and my limits and my boundaries. I don't just stay in the one, what do you call it, the one lane.
Mhm.
And it's been really enlightening. I mean, I remember when people go, oh, you're speaking, you've written a book and you've done more books and all this sort of stuff. And oh, are you leaving photography? No, no, I'm just adding the feather to my cap. I mean, there's a big part of the story is that, you're here for a short time, make the most of it. So why not? And that's why it leads me to the art story and the art journey and doing what I want to do and how I want to do things. It's been really, and also working with people you want to work with.
Very
It's
important.
important. Do you know what I mean? The whole lot is important.
Absolutely. Are you able to quantify perhaps the difference that your own personal brand has had on your business, compared to, say, when you weren't in front of the camera, when you're only behind the camera versus,
Oh,
getting in front of it and building your own brand?
totally, totally. Because now like I've got my 9-week video brand accelerator. I've got online programs. I take people through. They know me, they trust, they like me because they're getting to know me, or they gotten to know me, or they know of my work and they know my reputation. So it's all hand in hand. And then you just work with the people that really want to work with you and get your vibe and your energy. And if you've got something to help people with, then you just do it and you attract those people. It's all values based. But at the end of the day, if I didn't do what I was doing, if I didn't write a book, if I didn't get up on stage, if I didn't take the risks of putting myself out there to speak about what I know to be true, then I'd sort of still be the boring one-dimensional photographer that I know that I'd be a frustrated soul with. Do you know what I mean? I know I'd probably be frustrated, but then again, because we're always evolving, I wouldn't even know what to think. I just know that I've always known since I was little that there's just something bigger out there for me. And I guess I'm just on that journey of learning and pushing myself to that point of what is that big thing that's out there. It's interesting. It's very interesting.
Something that seems to be pretty common across all the people that I speak with, particularly those who are more in front of the camera these days than they ever used to, whether that's camera, whether that's in public somehow, speaking, books, authors, whatever that looks like. That it was not necessarily something they just dove straight to the deep end into. They often, it's a journey of evolution. They start with something quite simple. Perhaps it's their first video or their first photo shoot or something like that. Maybe they start writing a little bit more, or perhaps speak at their local chamber of commerce or something like that. So it always starts pretty small, but does tend to evolve into bigger and better things once they realize the impact and the power that it actually has. Is that how your journey has progressed?
Yeah, it's all for the little baby steps, so it's all baby steps, and that's where the fun is. I love it. I really do love it. I find it quite empowering. It's baby steps. I mean, it's just amazing that you just got to do baby steps in your own time, in your own way. I mean, I've got customers that are like, I've been watching you for like 10 years, 5 years, 4 years, things like that. Oh, I'm ready now. Okay. So interesting. So interesting. People take it at different stages of where they feel ready. And it's a deep feeling, it's so interesting. It's deep or it's pushed. It's peer pressure, people around you trying to, doing things that you do. It is really interesting. Really interesting.
You've also worked with a whole bunch of pretty famous celebrities. How did you get into those kind of, gigs, and what was it like working for somebody like Arnold Schwarzenegger?
That was great. Oh my gosh, that was lovely. Yeah, I love that.
How did it come about?
Yeah, no, I was, again, personal branding, reputation. Obviously, I can deliver on what I'm going to do and say, and so that was exciting. So that's what I did, and I got asked to do it. And I was the only female photographer to be asked to do that, and it was great. Yeah, great opportunities come my way. I love it. I just love what I do. And recently, I've been, photographed the psychologist lady on Married at First Sight, and then the other lady I've photographed is the Ninja Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
She's great. She's wonderful. So it's so interesting to work with people. Even that the TV stars. I mean, can be as, what do you call it, timid and as shy as most people can be. But put a camera or put them where they want to be. It's very interesting. It's very cool.
You also mentioned that you started to do some art, and have started to blend some of your works into what you do. Tell me a bit about that and how that came about.
I just one day I just was just I don't even know. I was just thinking and doing and looking for something that could be a creative. To tell you the truth, I'm really, really good at what I do. I'm a master and a mistress. I'm the queen of what I do. Like, I know how to pick up a camera and take a great photo. One photo, I know how to do it. It's no question about it. And then I was just sort of like, what can I challenge myself? And I asked that question to myself, and I've written books, and when I speak on stage, but I just was something. What is it that I can do for myself, maybe? And then I just never painted in my life ever, and I just started playing around with paints and things, and I started developing that, and it got a bit addictive, and then it got to a brand, and then it got to a business, and then it's like, my God, it's exploded. And then it's only just really been launched. It's really only going to be launched this week, next week. So it's been a very interesting journey, watching it evolve and grow. And it's something that I love doing, is the art. The ZahrinaGallery.com and Zahrina Artist on Instagram. And it's just something that I like working with. It's a balance. It's like some people like to write, I work with color and flow of paint, and it's very interesting. You know,
You're
I
clearly
really do
very,
enjoy it.
yeah, you're clearly very talented because you do take beautiful photographs, and you're right, you know how to take a good photograph, but your artwork is beautiful as well. So you do have a creative streak.
It's not
Absolutely.
good, hey.
No, I'm jealous. I've always wanted to paint, but I guess I've never picked it up. So it's just one of those things that I'll get to someday, I'm sure.
Oh no, but I said that. I said, oh my gosh. I said, oh my God. And I was just thinking, while I was painting and creating the work that you see on ZahrinaGallery.com, like I was like looking, going, hang on. Some people do this when they're 80, 60 something and whatever's, and later. I'm like, oh dear, I'm enjoying it. I'm doing it now, you know. So
Yeah.
why not? I mean, at the end of the day, there's people who are doing it now, you know, and enjoying it, you know.
So what advice would you give someone who wants to improve their personal brand, but just maybe doesn't know where to start?
Well, they're booking a call with me. Well, let's chat. And I think that it's basic. Start where your values are. You know, start where your values are, what you stand for, who you are as a person, and then go from there. And then if things will start to evolve, really. But always get guidance. You want to get somebody who's not a yes person, someone who really pushes the buttons about your decisions and things like that. That's what I like doing. I love doing that. I like pushing back on people or what their thoughts and beliefs are, and then coming to the middle ground. It's really interesting.
I imagine people's beliefs are part of the thing, part of the reason that they hold back as well. Is that true?
Yeah, very true. Very true. You know, we only grow up with what we know. You know.
And so, do you find this happens, naturally for people like of all ages? Do people eventually get to a point where they go, you know what, I just need to sort of clean my act up, or is it still only a select few that go down the formal branding, if you like?
No, that's interesting. Again, it's like the one percenters. Are you the one percenter in the world? Are you not? You know, like there's the one percenters like the Richard Bransons and the Elon Musks, these people, amazing minds, amazing, they just do it, right? So there's the people and yeah, I think encouragement, and I don't know, I guess it's just two things. You're the one percenters or you're not. You're either doing it or you're not. The people that are doing it are doing it.
I love that. There is only a certain amount of people that are go-getters like that, and they are the select few. But they do tend to succeed because they keep pushing those boundaries. They keep trying new things. They do take risks. They're willing to put themselves out there. I think it's a hugely important asset if you want to build not just your personal brand, but your personal business, whatever that may look like, and your wealth. It's imperative that you get out there, that you actually push those boundaries. I think we should all do that a little bit more, right?
Yep, definitely, definitely.
So I've really enjoyed having a chat with you today, Zahrina. I've got a closing question that I like to ask all my guests. If someone
Mm.
paid you $1 million to pick your
Mm.
brain, but you only had a few minutes to share your thoughts, what would you say to them?
If they pay me $1 million, did you say?
Yeah.
Oh, if they pay me $1 million, what would I say?
How would you help them, but you only had a few minutes? What would that
Oh,
sound like?
I'd help them by asking them where would they put that money to help other people, putting it back on them. Like trying to work out, like it's not about, it's kind of like not about me and it's not about you. It's about how other people are going to help other people.
Nice. Zahrina, how can people find out a little bit more about you? Where can they find out about you online?
It's zahrinaphotography.com, and people can book in time to have a brand consultation with me, which is great. And then Sydney, I'm based, and around the world because I've got this video brand accelerator about to be launched. So, mainly on my website, LinkedIn, Instagram. It's all Zahrina Robertson, Zahrina Photography. Is that Z-A-H for Harry, R-I-N-A.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
I enjoyed that chat with Zahrina, and it's clear that she has a passion for her work, and I love the way she describes herself as a cheerleader for her clients. It's great to have somebody on your side that is willing to be there and help push you to get some good work done. She is an advocate of the quality aspect, and I agree there is a certain quality that you need, but I worry that some people maybe won't execute in order to go for that perfection. So to me, execution beats perfection every time. But I do agree that a certain quality is necessary to stand out from the crowd. I can't wait to bring you the next episode. Much love. Chat soon.